So I wanted to talk to you about cycles of time. I wanted to talk to you about bending time and manipulating time, and how time itself, it really doesn't exist. It's something that has been created by a bunch of beings that want to control a system, that want to control a species. If something is out of sync in the micro, it's going to be out of sync in the macro. If we look at our zodiac, our zodiac, we're told it has 12 constellations. Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Virgo, Scorpio, Libra, Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries. There's actually 13. The 13th missing one is Ophiuchus. I've been sharing this information for a long time, but it keeps coming up in conversations that I'm having with people and things that are going on the planet. So I'm kind of coming into it today again from a different perspective. 13 is the number of the divine goddess. 13 is everywhere. You find 13 in so many ancient wonders. People say 13 is unlucky. Friday the 13th, stay away from it. Unlucky number 13. Everything in this world that has been taught to us is inverted. And 13 is a very powerful number. They say that you shouldn't cut your toenails on a Friday, but actually cutting your toenails, your fingernails, getting your hair cut, cutting anything on your body, i.e. feet, toes, hair, is actually the best day of the week to cut it. Everything has an inversion. The whole matrix that was created is an inverted matrix, where energy is siphoned and it's never given back. Because energy can never die. Energy can never be destroyed. But the inverted matrix that's been created to control this system is inverted, so the energy doesn't flow. And this is another reason that humans get old and they die. But that's a whole other story. We are supposed to be eternal beings. This is something we dive deep into in our level 2 facilitated training. Eternal life, how to recode the internal geometry, internal mathematics. If you look at a week and a month and a year, if you look at a decade, if you look at the precession of the equinoxes, people say that the precession of the equinoxes is accurate, around 26,000 years, 25,920 to be precise, according to someone. But how do we really know? We know all the information in our books, Bible, Quran, all of these books that we've been given isn't correct. There's glimpses of truth, mixed in with a whole heap of madness and chaos to keep us distracted and dysfunctional. You've got the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which date back way back. Are they accurate? How do we know? When I was remembering star magic, the healing modality that is streaming through the world right now, where we've trained thousands of people in more than 55 countries. When I was in the mystery schools, remembering this information, Thoth was one of the teachers, and he shared some amazing knowledge, but not all of the knowledge that he shared was completely 100% on the money. And that is because he himself got corrupted on some level, because there are beings in control of this whole system that are way more powerful than people like Thoth. And that is why you have to always use discernment, and that is why you always have to feel instead of think into everything that is taking place. Don't just take information blindly. Even from myself, don't trust a word that comes out of my mouth. Go into your heart, meditate on it, feel it, and then you'll know whether it's truth or not. This is what any sensible human being does. An alchemist, an architect, someone that is in tune with the frequency, because everything has a resonance. I have a resonance, you have a resonance. The camera that I'm speaking into right now has a resonance. The earth has a resonance. The sun and the moon has a resonance. Everything, flowers, fish, everything has a vibrational frequency. And so when you tap into the vibrational frequency, then you know what is true and what is not true. But you've got to be very present to be able to experience this, because it's very easy for something to shift its frequency for a short period of time, so that when you tap into it, it seems okay. So you've got to be able to hold that space. We always use kaleidoscopic chromium, which is a powerful frequency that was given to us in Star Magic several years ago when we were meditating on a beach in Andromeda. This frequency contains every color range imaginable and unimaginable. And so other beings that try and shapeshift into your reality and hold space as a false frequency can't. But back to this cycle of time. If our hours and our minutes and our weeks and our months and our years are out, then don't you think the precession of the equinoxes is going to be out? Because everything's a fractal, right? Imagine you go to play golf and you put your golf ball down on the tee, you swing back and you hit the ball. If you hit that ball 1 degree, half a degree out from the line of sight that you want it to go down, by the time it gets 300 yards down the fairway, it's going to be out by several meters. If time is out on a year, then of course it's going to be out at the precession of the equinoxes. And the thing is with time, it doesn't exist, it's a construct. So if the construct is false at the start, the construct is going to be false as it fractalizes out. If you go back, we're supposed to have 13 moons. The woman's cycles run off 13 moons, 13 months, but we've only been told there's 12. This is an attack on the goddess feminine frequency. It's what's taken humanity out of balance for a long time. About 4 weeks ago, we were doing a deep in space retreat in Holland. 10 days on plant medicine, ayahuasca, psilocybin, journeying night and day. Powerful retreat. And time kept coming up in this retreat so much. And we were shown how much time is an illusion. It was like day 2, day 3, and I'm stood in the middle of the floor. And Laurie comes over to me and says, listen, I'm just going over to the room next door. I'll be back in a bit. And she took someone with her. Anyway, I'm stood in the middle of the floor talking to Dustin for an hour and 20 minutes. It was ages. Anyway, Laurie's come back. I said to her, where have you been? She said, I just went over to the room next door. I said, no, but you've been ages. She goes, no, it was 20 minutes. She went and got her phone and showed me because I knew when she left. Because we're always keeping an eye on little things like this. On her phone, she was just over 20 minutes. The time in the ceremony room was around an hour. When she stepped outside of the ceremony room and came back in again, time had adjusted itself. But me inside the ceremony room, it seemed like everything had speeded up, even though it was the same because an hour had gone past. Outside of the ceremony room, for Laurie, time seemed the same, but it was only 20 minutes. So what had happened is time had expanded itself, and time inside the ceremony room became triple. And what you've got to ask yourself is, time speeding up outside the ceremony room or inside the ceremony room? Now, this happened on another occasion. I had to go back to one of the houses where someone was staying and get a clean change of clothes. And I took Justin with me. So Justin and I go back there. We go to the house, we sit down, we had a quick cup of tea, we came back. And we were around 25 minutes. When we got back, the other guy, we went and got the stuff for Dustin, he said to us, where have you been? You've been ages. On his time, it was around an hour. For us, it was 25 minutes. Again, roughly a 3-to-1 split. So time itself in the ceremony room was 3 times more, roughly. And outside of the ceremony room, it was normal. Now, I've been playing around with this, and you can expand time and contract time, but you do it by speeding it up and slowing it down. But what you've got to do as the human being that wants to change time, let's say you want to get more stuff done in the day, you've got to step into a space where time is normal, but you've got to slow time down around you. So what we've been playing around with is you create like an eye shape, but the eye shape is vertical. Now you can step into this quantum space through this slit of an eye, okay, which is a whole different field of energy, and you've got to set your intentions up right. You've got to connect your heart to it. You've got to be very crystal clear on what you want to do. And when you step into this space, everything that's outside of that space slows down. So I go into a space where time is normal, but you think it was speeded up because when you go in there, you get so much done. But that's actually the inversion. And that's where people get confused when they're trying to manipulate time. So if I step into an alternate reality and slow time down around me outside of that alternate reality, when I go inside and do my work, it seems like I'm doing everything at the same pace. But actually, because everything around me is slower, what is taking place inside that alternate reality is much more. And then you step back out of that reality. People around you have struggled to get their work done in 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever it was they set out to do, their tasks for the day. But you've gone and accomplished everything and more. I remember years ago, it happened to me the first time by accident. I was in Cheltenham where I live, and I got a phone call to say, listen, you've got to get to this meeting. I was like, how am I going to get to that meeting? It starts in an hour and a half. It's in London, you're crazy. It's going to take me at least 2 hours to drive there, and I've got to get home first and get some stuff. And when I did actually make this journey, what happened is I went home, told the kids that I was going to London, got a few bits and pieces, drove down there. I drove the normal speed limit because there was a lot of traffic. It was a Saturday. And when I got to London, I had to park on the outskirts of Mayfair because there was some kind of festival or carnival on. And I had to run the last mile to meet in this hotel in Mayfair. Now that itself it's a 2-hour drive from Cheltenham to London on a good day. And then you've got the time it took me to first go home and get my stuff, another 20 minutes. And then you got my run, which was another, 15 minutes. I was covered in sweat, dripping when I walked into the hotel. So you're looking at 3 hours, realistically, give or take. But I managed to get there in an hour and a half. So I was so hell-bent on being in this meeting, I was so determined to get there. Somehow time manipulated itself. And everybody looked at me and was like, how the heck did you do that? I said, I don't know, I just drove down here. And it's weird because all the time I was looking at my watch, I was looking at my phone, and time was just as time was. But when I got there, it wasn't. So somehow I'd created a vortex in my car, traveling down the motorway. Everything was normal for me. But everything outside of that space had slowed down. Sounds crazy, but this stuff is starting to happen a lot. It's starting to manifest itself in front of our very eyes. You know, sometimes when I do a group healing, people will come up to me afterwards and say, Jerry, I looked up during the group healing and you weren't there. Or Jerry, I looked up and there was a pirate there, or there was, some kind of other being there, or there was just like this fractalized light, where you're supposed to be. When I'm doing a group healing and there's a lot of people there in the audience, I'm calling all of my multidimensional selves back into this now space. Now, this now space is connected multidimensionally to every single multidimensional version of me. Some are here in this reality, some are in other realities. And everything phases into one. So when people look up, they're getting glimpses into multiple different time-space coordinates, multiple different reality fields. Time is an illusion. Space is there. Everything within that space is something that we co-create, something that we create, something that is some kind of holographic construct. And time itself is quite handy in this 3D reality if we want to meet someone at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, or get to a workshop, or come to one of our trainings or meditation groups. It's quite handy. Otherwise we'd just be floating around. But once you get used to floating around, you actually find that you can be everywhere at once. Once you step outside of your physical body and you start to journey, you realize that you're everywhere at the same time. So you can be there on a meditation workshop, you can be on Mars doing some excavation work, you could be in New Zealand walking up a mountain, you could be in Hawaii lying on the beach, and you could be at home writing your new book, all at the same time. I remember years ago when I was writing The Vortex of Consciousness, which I never published, which has got some amazing information in it, but I was just told it wasn't the right time. But I was sat at my laptop, tapping away, and I started feeling this frequency, this vortex came around me, and I fell into my computer screen, and I was on a bridge, and either side there was running water. I walked across the bridge which had grass on it. There was a big castle up in the distance. I've taken so many of our tribe members on this journey to a planet called Bevericon in the constellation of Boots. It's an Arcturian space. It's where a lot of beings go when they're traveling multidimensionally to readjust their frequency, to recalibrate between different spaces with completely different frequency bands. There are many healing temples there, chambers, beautiful place. I was walking across this bridge, and there's all these children, these beings that are floating, halos around their heads, playing with balls of energy. Amazing. I went into the castle, went down into a classroom where a wizard was teaching children different multidimensional skill sets. And I was just sat watching my laptop, writing a book. Suddenly I'm there. And I fell into this space in a heartbeat. There was no process to get there. The energy came in and wrapped itself around me. It became a vortex. I sort of dematerialized and rematerialized somewhere else. Or maybe my body was still there in the space where the computer was. And I was in two spaces at the same time. I'm actually sure on that one. When it was time to come back, I just set the intention. Boom, I'm back in my body. Did my body go from one place to another, or did my body stay in the same space? Did my consciousness journey? Time is an illusion. They say it takes so many hours to fly from here to LA, 10 hours from London to LA. Yet in a heartbeat, I can be on a different planet, in a different constellation. And I don't even know how many light years away that is, or how many thousands of hours, millions of hours it would take to get there by conventional travel. Maybe it's even impossible. But again, there are technologies there, anti-gravity technologies, warp speed technologies, repulsion technologies, that extraterrestrials, you and I, in other realities have had for billions of years, trillions of years. This technology is ancient. We had this technology in Atlantis. We had this technology on Earth at different times. Nature. People say nature is beautiful, but if the mathematical code is out, something can still be beautiful and not be correct. Our human bodies are tiny. They're supposed to be huge. The mathematics is out. Our innate code is out, but it's shifting and it's moving back to its original geometry, where it needs to be. You know, people are still looking into the flower of life, the false flower of life. People still worship that. People still observe that. All of the Metatronic technology that comes out of these false geometries that's weaved into nature in so many different ways. It's weaved into this spiritual community and it causes chaos and mayhem. It's weaved into people's light language, people's light codes. It's weaved into buildings that people are constructing. It's weaved everywhere and it's dangerous. There is an original flower of life, but the one that people say is engraved onto the temples in Egypt, it's a false one, rotating out from the 0 point, 60 degrees, when the true rotation should be a 45-degree rotation. If the mathematics are out in this whole worldly construct, this whole worldly holographic reality, then maybe they're out in the galaxy, maybe they're out in the universe, or maybe in the far reaches of the universe it's okay. And all of that far-reaching code is starting to filter its way back to Earth. And as a result, our local environment is starting to recode itself. Or maybe the whole universe is out, and we as humans are the catalysts to create this massive change. Maybe we're the catalysts that are reconfiguring our own DNA template, our own cycle of time, our own cyclical nature, our own present moment, our own mathematics. Maybe we're changing our own geometry, and as a result of that, things are going to fractalize out, change nature, change the world, change the galaxy, change the universe, change the multiverse. Feel this information. We have to shift our own internal geometry. We are the Stargate guardians of the Earth. We carry the crystalline keys. We carry the royal code in our blood, in our DNA. It's been played around with, it's been tampered with, but the original source code is there. The original template is there. You can't destroy that. It's not possible, but you can play with it and tamper with it and reconfigure it. And that's what happened to humans. They've played around with our consciousness. They've played around with our template. They've played around with the template that they've given us to live in. And we're talking about beings that could pick up a planet and move it somewhere else. We're talking about beings that could get a massive snooker table. And I'm talking about a massive snooker table. That could go and get a load of planets, put it down on the snooker table, and play snooker with them. using huge, giant galactic obelisks as snooker cues. This is alchemy. This is the potential, and we have this potential. We're giants. We can grow ourselves multidimensionally, look down on the planet and start to change it massively. But people just think they're small, unimportant, measly little humans that are in this game they can't get out of. And most people don't even realize they're in a game. Most people have not even woken up to the fact that all of this is going on. But it's beautiful and magical. And the reason we came here is to recode this whole universe, starting with ourselves, decoding our mathematics so we can become eternal and stay on this planet for as long as is necessary to do the job we came here to do, to recreate that old world, that diamond earth, that ancient earth, where we used to play and have fun on a planet hundreds of millions of years ago that we call Tara, a much larger planet than Earth, a planet that had an Atlantis, a planet that had an Egypt, a planet that ran crystalline grid architecture, a planet that had wars fought over it for Stargate systems and the crystalline technology. Same thing that's happening on this planet right now. It's just a game, and time is stopping us playing the game. So go into your heart, go into meditation, contemplate, see, feel, start to know this truth, and then start to play around with this truth and see how far you can take it, see how deep you can go with it. And the farther you go, the deeper you travel. You'll realize you never went anywhere. You're in the same space at the same time, just being you, opening yourself up to being your own Stargate. Your Merkaba field is a Stargate. Not the two tetrahedrons that most people are working with. That's part of your light body, absolutely a very integral piece. But for you to travel in your own Stargate, your own Merkaba field, it must be your multidimensional Merkaba field. 10 tetrahedrons, 5 male, 5 female, that stellated dodecahedron, that 12-pointed star. Those 12 points link into 12 of your transmission centers. The 13th one links into your alpha and your omega. It plugs through the Aramatena gateway in the Lyran system into the God worlds. Once this multi-dimensional Merkaba field is operational and you get the right magnetic tilt or the right magnetic spin and the correct tilt on your Merkaba field, on your tetrahedrons, you can travel forwards, backwards, depending on how you tilt it. This is the technology that we're remembering right now. And soon we're going to be flying around in our Merkaba fields. How soon is soon? Who knows? Because there is no time, right? It just comes down to a matter of vibrational frequency. And when we hit that beautiful point, that beautiful 0 point, when we're ready, when we're able to be at peace with this technology once again and not let our ego get in the way and use it to manipulate, to control, we've got to step into this field of love on a grand scale, this field of compassion, this field of unity, this field of more life to all and less to none, sharing our resources, realizing that we're all equal. It's only these incredible beings that have created all these structures and systems that have divided us. Black man is no more important than white man. White man is no more important than black man. Brown, yellow, rich, poor, Chinese, Japanese, American, French, German, English, Irish. We're all the same. And if anyone is out there telling you different, then they're creating division. We all carry the same potential inside of us. It simply needs to be reactivated. Light, vibration are the keys. Light and vibration are the keys to switching on these musical instruments, these physical bodies of ours. Tunes and harmonics we can play are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But quite often we play tunes and frequencies that are like scratching nails across a blackboard. Anger, frustration, rejection, guilt, pity, fear. This is when the musical instrument malfunctions. But when you're playing tunes of joy, love, happiness, sovereignty, the musical instrument thrives. And sound and vibration are the keys to making this musical instrument tick and play well. That's why music is one of the biggest weapons of mass destruction. Because when frequency is played and people tune in, it takes them out of their heart, it takes them into their lower transmission centers, lower energy centers, which are again a construct weaved into us by those that reconfigured our DNA. We're supposed to have multidimensional transmission centers running right down through our body, above our body, below our body. Again, we teach this in our level 2 training. Dissolving that obsolete chakra system that most people use and bringing online your transmission centers which plug into stargates, constellations, different grid points, earthly and galactically. And you start to function at a whole different level. When people are running frequency through the root, through the solar plexus, through the throat, through the pineal gland, the crown, on this lower vibrational level, we're just giving more energy to the matrix. When are people going to wake up and realize a lot of these systems that we've been taught for thousands and thousands of years are not 100%? But the problem is this: when someone like me comes along and starts telling people that everything they've believed in for a long time, since they were born, or 20 years, or what their ancestors have believed in for thousands of years, is false. There's a part of them that goes into panic. There's a part of them that goes into defend my position, because the ego has an identity. And when you take that identity away, or try and take that identity away, or the ego knows it's losing its identity, it fights, it attacks, it defends. So I know that it's hard to take on board some of this information at first. And that's why I ask you just to feel into it, sit with it, and you'll know the truth. You'll know the truth. Just remember, you're powerful. You're a supersonic galactic titan from the stars that came to this earth to rediscover your multidimensionality, to rediscover that you are God in human form. The God spark is in your heart, the God spark is in every cell, and you're never disconnected from it. Yes, there's layers of confusion. Yes, there's layers of chaos. Yes, there's layers of BS that cloak the best kept secret in the world, that you are God. You're whole. There's nothing to find, nothing to chase, but you still might for a little while. Because we like to play this human game, right? We wrote this story like this so we could have a little bit of fun. If everybody knew they were God, it would be a little bit boring. We'd have to create a new game. Just remember, you're the universe, and the universe gets bored. And when it gets bored, it goes out and creates. And out from that creation, the creation unfolds. And once it starts, you can't stop it. You've just got to flow with the energy and tweak it here and there until the universe finds its way back to itself. To realize it was peaceful all along. And all of that stuff between the universe waking up and going to sleep again is the story we wrote, game we're playing. And yes, it's painful at times, but out from that pain, there's beautiful lessons. Gold to be mined from every situation. Wherever you are on this planet, beautiful soul, go and love your sisters and your brothers fiercely and ferociously. Hug them tightly and never, ever, ever be the first to let go. That's the golden rule of hugging. Even if you've got to be there for a while, hug them. You need to hug for at least a minute. At least a minute. A good hug. Hugging is beautiful medicine. Remember, check out our website, starmagichealing.org. We've got some of the best ascension tools on planet Earth. Hundreds of meditations, hundreds of mystery school teachings, light language transmissions, light codes to recode your multidimensional architecture, activate your third eye, your light body. We've got nutrition, hundreds of different recipes, high frequency nutrition. We've got cosmic yoga, breath work, a private Telegram group so you can connect with beautiful souls just like you that are on the same mission as you, that want to make and create a better world, that want to rediscover their superhuman potential. Join your family, connect with your soul tribe. You get access to all of this free right now for 7 days. Go and check it out. And I will see you on the inside. And remember, be powerful, speak your truth, live your truth. Play this game by your own rules. Focus on what you want and not what you don't want. Be love, be kind. Be fierce, be ferocious when necessary. Like a lion, like a lioness. Like the warrior god, the warrior goddess that you are. We're magical alchemists, architects, powerful beyond measure. Don't let anyone ever tell you any different. Know your truth, beautiful soul. Know thyself. I'll see you again real soon. One love, one heart, one human family. Peace out.